Good evening, guys. While studying my Bible this evening, I was specifically the book of Daniel, Daniel chapter 6. So I was studying the whole book of Daniel, that's the story of Daniel. But then I came across this particular lesson that I was able to depict out of the book of Daniel chapter 6 to be specific. Now, without taking much of your time, I just want to mention out this lesson that I feel like a lot of people might not have picked it out or might not have drawn the rhema from within this passage of Daniel. So we all know that Daniel was a very diligent official, someone that worked with God, that he worked all throughout his work as an official in Babylon. He worked with God, and because of this his diligence, he was favored by the king of Babylon, that was the King Nebuchadnezzar, and he was also favored by the son of King Nebuchadnezzar, who was Belshazzar. And even after Belshazzar died, he was still favored by the new king that took over, which was the King Darius of Medes. So King Darius of Medes really liked Daniel. So because Daniel was very diligent among all of his officials, someone that was without any fault, someone that they could not catch in any corruptible act. And the other officials that were jealous of Daniel, they set him up and they planned against Daniel. Now I won't go into the story. I won't go dive deep into the story. I want to pick out this particular lesson that I want to share with you guys. We can see that in this story, after Daniel was set up by these officials, they plotted against him, and because of the decree that the king had signed on, he couldn't go back on his words. The king could not go back. He could not revert that decree because he had already signed upon that decree. He had agreed upon that decree. So he had to succumb to the will of those officials to throw Daniel into the lion's den. Now, after Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, Daniel prayed. And because of the prayers that he has prayed before, not just the moment he was dropped into the lion's den, because of the prayers, the regular prayers that Daniel always had, because of his prayer altar, God sent an angel to shut the mouth of the lions. And Daniel was not harmed. He didn't come to any harm. So when the king found out that Daniel was okay, out of annoyance, when the king found out of what was going on, what was happening, the plot of the officials, the king now gave an order that all those officials that were involved in the whole plot against Daniel should be cast into the lion's den with their family. Now, listen to me, with their family, that is with their wives and their children. So all of these officials with their wives and their children were cast into the lion's den. So now the point that I wanted to draw out of this passage is the fact that these men, their wives and their children were innocent. But why is it that the king cast all of them into the lion's den? Irrespective of the fact that the wives did not have anything, they didn't have any role to play in the whole plot against Daniel. So now this brings us to the point which I'm trying to make. That you see, as a wife, you are responsible for your household. Forget the fact that the husband is the head of the home. You as a wife are responsible for your household. So if there's a break in your household, the way your husband falls, that's the same way you will also go down. Because of your husband, if your husband is making a wrong decision and you're not able to drag him, or you're not able to correct him, or you're not able, there are some things that you should be able to do because it's your house. It is your household. There are some things that you should be able to preserve within your home. You are the preserver of your own household as a wife. And that was a very huge lesson that I learned from that particular passage. Now, let me give you guys an example that shows us a perfect woman, a perfect wife, a good wife that was able to save her household from destruction. So that women will understand that it's not about you saying, hey, after all, it's my husband, any decision he should make his decision. After all, I don't have any hand in his decisions. Or you say, after all, I'm not the one that influences his decisions. No. Do you know that the decision of the head of the house can bring the downfall of the entire household? That was what happened in Daniel. Now, I'll give you an example of a good wife who was able to save her decisions, and her quick actions were able to save her household. Now, this example was in the book of 1 Samuel, I think 1 Samuel chapter 23 or so, if I'm not mistaken. This was the story of Nabal and Abigail. Nabal, who was the husband of Abigail, Nabal did something to David that made David very annoyed, and David sought out to wipe out the entire household of Nabal. He wanted to wipe out all the male, both his male servants, his male children, every male in his household. David wanted to kill all of them because of that particular thing that Nabal did. And when the wife of Nabal heard about it, heard what Nabal did, she didn't even know that David was coming to her house to wipe them out. She quickly packed gifts and everything. In case if you don't know the story, go back and read the book of 1 Samuel. I think it is 1 Samuel chapter 23. Go back and read it, then you understand what I'm saying. Abigail quickly rushed and packaged things, foodstuff and other resources that they were going to need, and quickly went to intercept David on the way, David and his men. And David told her, David said, you're a blessed woman, that you have saved your family, you have saved your husband and your entire household from destruction, because my plan was to go and wipe you, if not because of you, because of this particular act that you have done. By now, none of the male in your house would still be alive, because that was what David wanted to go and do. And he now told her that you're a very wise woman. So this is the role of a good wife. This is the role of a woman in her home. This is the role of a woman in her home. And then I'll give you guys other examples or Bible verses that depicts the role of a wise woman and a good wife. Proverbs chapter 31 from verse 10 to 12 says that a wife of noble character, who can find a wife of noble character? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and he lacks nothing of value. Imagine, her husband, he lacks nothing of value because he has full confidence in a wife. That is a good wife. Now, she brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. That is the role of a good wife. Then the same Proverbs chapter 31 from verse 27 to 28 says that a good wife, she watches over the affairs of her household. A good wife watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So meaning that a good wife is the one that watches over the affairs of her household. Whatsoever her husband does, she has interest in what her husband does. She's the one to tell him that this thing that you are doing, please stop, because it will put you in danger. A good wife is the one that will pull her husband back when he's going astray. She's not a careless woman that will allow her husband to fall to the ground because it is not her. A good wife also is a woman that takes care of her children and her husband. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and her husband praises her. Why would her husband praise her? Because she has done good in his life. All that he sees in his wife is goodness. All that he sees in his wife is her good character, is her faithfulness, her diligence in everything that she does. That is a good wife. And Ephesians chapter 5 verse 28 also. Sorry about the light, they just took light. Okay. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 28. It tells us that in the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies, because he who loves his wife loves himself. Now, what does it mean? Why did I relate the love of the husband to his wife? A husband that loves his wife listens to his wife. A husband that loves his wife cherishes her advice and cherishes anything that she tells him. So if you are a good wife to your husband will love you because of your character. A husband that loves his wife loves her as himself. So therefore, there's nothing as a good wife that you tell your husband that he will not listen, unless that husband is a very foolish person. Unless that husband is one that does not listen to advice, is one that does not that he cannot be controlled. He does not listen. He's proud. Unless your husband is one that is filled with pride. Now, why I'm saying this is because I understood this from the book of Daniel. I understood this from the story of Daniel. That those officials, those government officials, were cast into the lion's den together with their families. Their families that were innocent, they were dragged together with their family. Because a man is one with his family. And anything that happens to the man, it will also affect the family. Anything that affects the family will affect the man. So as wives, we should understand that we are I'm a man. As wives, you should understand that you are caretakers of your own household. And anything that happens in your household is your responsibility as a caretaker. So make sure that your husband is doing what is right. If your husband is having is into corruption, or his ways are not right with God, or his ways are not right, even wherever he is, wherever he's working, in his workplace, talk to him. Talk to him. Cover him. But talk to him. Try to make impact in the life of your husband as well as your entire household. Because when the time comes, when the day of judgment should come for that man, the judgment will also fall upon you. If he is right, if he has worked with diligence, that is diligence. The reward of his diligence will rub off on you and your children. But if he had worked with a corruptible character, then that judgment will also be upon you and your children. Remain blessed. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, for more Bible stories and more Bible lessons.